Well, hi, my name is Tony, and you're at the Barely Booting YouTube channel. So, this is the first time I've ever done a live stream before. In fact, I have a piece of paper with bullet points to help me talk through this intro. So just bear with me here. As I mentioned, did I mention this is my first time with OBS? I'm not even sure if it's working properly right now, so we shall see. I can't even get to my computer over there. So let's see here. So what are we doing today? So I've been wanting to build a 486 PC from scratch that I would then turn into a BBS system. The reason is I have a analog PBX that I just got off of eBay. It's a 8-port analog PBX, and the purpose of the BBS is to serve as a kind of a concurrent hub where then I can connect four other PCs to it. I'm not really sure which PCs I'll connect to this BBS here in my garage. I'm thinking an Atari 800XL. That's the very first computer that I got as an 8-year-old. Probably a leading edge Model D. That's just an 8088 clone. I also have a Commodore 128 and a newer Quadra, I think it's a 6115 CD, something like that. But I have modems for all of them, and so really the purpose is build the 486 PC now, and then with this YouTube channel, as I have time, make other episodes about connecting each of those computers to this BBS. But as I mentioned today, we're just going to be building a 486 from scratch. I have all of the pieces in bins. These are a hodgepodge of parts that I've either been given to me for free, or I ordered them on eBay, or I got them from some of my friends that are on the East Coast. John, if you're watching, you're one of them. In fact, the motherboard that I'll be using today, or at least I think I'll use that particular motherboard, came from you. One thing just to kind of, there's a chaos disclaimer. So my two sons might come in here into the garage and disrupt, but I'm hoping for that because I love them. And I was about their age when I started getting into 486s and computers. So having them exposed to this, I think is really cool. So I hope they come in. I'm pretty sure my wife will also come in here and glare at me and wondering what it is I'm doing, and hopefully that I finish soon, whatever it might be. So again, just a chaos disclaimer. I might get interrupted by my family, and that's awesome. I think I've mentioned this a few times. This is my first time ever doing a live stream. My first time with OBS. This could all go wrong. This might be a very short video, but with all things, please, I would invite corrections, comments, make fun of me. Certainly, I know that my wife will probably make fun of me. I think some of my best friends that I shared this link with are all going to make fun of me, so I welcome it. I'm always trying to find ways of doing the dorkiest things. So anyway, I just kind of, I wrote some bullet points here, like, why vintage computers? Like, you could have any other hobby. Why are you doing this? Well, I don't know. Primary purpose is nostalgia. And I think for a lot of people who are into like retro computing, gaming, it's all about nostalgia. It's, taking you back to a period of time in your life where you have some really good memories. And that's certainly the case for me. A lot of the things that I did as a kid was, in my room with my friends, playing computer games, building things, learning. The early 90s where I really started was, an interesting time, right? Well, enough talking. Let's get to it. So again, my name is Tony. Please make fun of me as much as you want. I'm going to be building a 486 system from scratch. And you know what? It's Thanksgiving today, so thank you for tuning in. All right, yeah, so let's do that. So I'm actually walking over here to change OBS. So I'm going to switch to here. So here is my desk that I'll be doing this from, this build. I have a few cameras that I'm experimenting with. As you can see, that's just the bench overview. And this is a top-down. So I think we'll start with this view because then I can start showing what we're dealing with. So the first thing that I have here is this AT case. This AT case comes from a YouTuber named Mike Tech. Mike Tech, I'm not sure where in the country he is, but check out his YouTube channel. This case actually was one of the cases that was featured in his channel I decided to buy it from him. He listed it for sale. The face is currently off. It was shipped like this so that the brittle, plastic from the early 90s wouldn't just shard and whatnot. So let's start here. I've not opened this at all. I'm not sure if it did survive, and this should be pretty hilarious if it didn't. I just need to get myself a Phillips screwdriver. Yeah, man. Gotta love these AT cases. They're not like ATX cases that you have in modern computers where it's, one button to just turn it on. This has like those huge mechanical, AC mains, power buttons, power switches, I should say. It's kind of fun though. Mike Tech that got this case originally, I think that he, if memory serves, he got a huge lot of vintage computers, and this was in there. All right. Got that cover off, so let's see what we're working with. Perfectly packaged. Thank you very much, Mike Tech. Looks like there's a... Toss that into the recycling. Nice and cold here in the garage. All right, yep. Oh, that's right. This has got that really awesome, ugly faceplate, quintessential like custom build PCs from the 90s. We'll see how much yellowing it has, if any. One thing that I'm noticing here that might complicate this is it doesn't have an AT power supply, and I don't actually have any AT power supplies. But what you can get are ATX power supplies that will work with an AT case. There's a... This is some amazing packaging. Yes, look at that front cover. I love it. And here's that awesome AC mains, physical, kerchunk. What's that sound here? Love that. Looks like it has the, the LED display on top. This is where you could actually set the jumper settings to show what the CPU frequency is running at. And then you'd have this awesome turbo button. Who doesn't love a turbo button? But all right, let's see. I saw something fall. Okay, this looks like this has to be the faceplate screws. So let's get this all situated. Anyway, what I was saying before is this doesn't have an AT power supply. It's obviously not here, but that's fine. The reason that's fine is you can use an ATX power supply with an adapter cable. The interesting thing is that I might need to wire something custom to this AC mains switch so that it holds the power on through the ATXing. I'll show that in a bit. It's that cable that I'm talking about is somewhere in one of these bins. So, all right, let's see what else we need. All right, I have John from the East Coast viewing the YouTube channel. That's awesome. By the way, I don't have my computer set up with OBS that's nearby my desk, so just bear with me. I've stepped aside so that I can do that. John, you have a question. What camera am I using? So the top-down camera, that is just an older Sony camcorder. It outputs in with HDMI, and that's what I'm doing. It's just 1080p. This is a pretty old camera. The other camera that's showing a corner, that is just a 4K webcam that I had on hand. So a lot of this stuff is just really old stuff. There's a third camera here. It's my really old GoPro. That's actually not part of this view. But yeah, all right. So let us come back to this. All right. The other fun part about these old style computers is that these are all of the the connectors that go onto the motherboard, as far as the turbo button, power LED, the hard drive LED. So these will all have a home as soon as I get that all the parts, which will be what I'm doing next. But let's get this faceplate on. Really happy that this faceplate isn't very brittle. That's one of the fun things. I don't know if it was just cheap plastic that was used back in the day, or if over time, just the environment gets into that plastic and starts to degrade it. But yeah, so there are 4 screws that hold this faceplate on. Actually, did this have a speaker in it? Does not have a speaker. Okay, so I'm gonna have to add that onto the list of things to find as a PC speaker. In fact, I think I have one right up here. Perfect. See, my wife always makes fun of me for, boxes of random cables that I'm saving for later. I'm sure that you've all had that similar experience. And I'm like, see, for that one random vintage retro PC thing that I did years later, I needed that speaker that I've been hoarding. Whoa. This isn't a very magnetic screwdriver. Watch me live stream fumbling around with screws and a screwdriver. What could go wrong? Oh, that's very difficult. I say this is my first time ever live streaming. I guess that's actually not true. I have another YouTube account where the wife and I did the Hot Ones challenge at our dinner table. And that was actually, speaking of disasters, not because of the hot sauce, but because I didn't understand line level microphone input and mic gain. So the audio is horrible. Lots of clipping because I adjusted everything based on the gain, not the level input. So it's one of the fun things, we're all supposed to have hobbies, and clearly this is a choice. Probably not a choice most of you who are watching this would make. Maybe that's not the case. Most of you who are watching this are probably searched for this and are into retro, computers. But I love it. It's just there's something about the nostalgia. This build, a lot of these parts, I'm eager to look at the date codes on them. Probably the majority of it is from the early 90s, right? Like probably 93 is my guess for the motherboard. My friend that lives in Montana actually found a VLB video card that I'm hoping to use. I've never tested it before to see if it works, but I noticed when I put it into my parts bin that it showed that it was 1995. So if we can use it, that's awesome, but that'll be a late model part for this. I also think that the memory that I have, that's also newer. So this won't be period correct, but at least this ugly, or I should say amazing case will at least give it that look. Another reason why I want this to be a BBS, I guess I should say the reason why, this was an idea was, I think when I was 9 years old, man, that would have been really early 90s, but I had a leading edge Model D PC. It was my first ever PC. My first ever computer was an Atari 800 XL that my best friend's dad gave to me. But for that leading edge Model D, I ran, I think, Wildcat BBS on that. So, a 9-year-old being dorky in their bedroom, I chose to build a BBS and run it. I don't remember much about it, and we only had one phone line. So, that was the fun thing where I don't know if anybody ever dialed into it, but I had like door games. Legend of the Red Dragon is what I would play often. All right, so now we have this beautiful, stunning. It's interesting, this case badge here. I wonder if this comes off. Oh my gosh, is it really? Yeah, there's a plastic, that plastic film over this. Heck yeah. Well, I'll have to get a pick to pick that off. That could actually not be. No, it is. I can see it's bubbling. But if that's the case, then that's going to be awesome because it'll look brand new. Go over here to my tool chest. Let's see here. Just had that. Ah, here's a pick. Perfect. See if we can get that film off. Okay, apparently I'm throwing screwdrivers. Live streams. Love it. Start over here. Yes, it is. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. So this is that oddly satisfying moment of peeling off the film. I don't wanna scratch it with this pick. I might need to use something because this it's coming off in pieces. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there because I don't want to inadvertently scratch it. Okay, so let's talk about power supplies. So at some point, I ordered a couple of older ATX power supplies off eBay because new old stock AT power supplies are kind of becoming unobtainium. It's hard to find them in any good working order. The one thing that I noticed about this is that it has two 5-volt rails, the -5 and +5. A lot of modern ATX power supplies don't have that. And so a lot of the older like ISA cards that need that -5 volts just will malfunction and not work right. There's like a open source thing called a voltage blaster that you can get that adds the -5 volt, but I didn't want to use up an ISA slot just for that voltage thing. So I was able to find these. I have 2 of these. I have not tested them, so we'll see if they blow up. That should be fun. The other challenge with this is now that I'm looking at it, this has some newer SATA connectors on it. So I only have 2 for a floppy drive and a hard drive. And I haven't actually figured out which of those I want to use. So, all right, well, let's get this mounted. First, I'm going to clip those twist ties. I guess what I was trying to explain before is that this is an old enough ATX power supply that it has both +5 and -5 volts that older computers need. That film that's still on there is going to bother me. We'll get it off soon. Okay, cut this annoying twist tie. And hopefully not cut the cables themselves. Okay, now they are free. We have freedom here. Yeah. I want people to use these. Looks like there's a former spider exoskeleton, a molt on there. How fun. Old stuff. Gotta love it. The nice thing about this as well is that this, I think I have a 386 build I did a couple years back that I used a more modern ATX power supply on, and again, it had the voltage issue of not having thing. My cup of screws for this ATX power supply. I'm just waiting for my wife to come in here and be like, it's Thanksgiving. Come spend time with us. Why would I do that? I love my family. They're very patient people. Imagine having to be married to me. For those of you who know me, this is all sheet metal. I love this is old, kind of tarnished sheet metal showing its age. Sure, it'll be fun seeing if this power supply blows up. Hopefully I'll get it on a live video. Speaking of nostalgia, just thinking about my son the other day mentioned he wanted to start a YouTube channel and said, asked me, Daddy, what do I use to film my YouTube channel? And he's 11. And so I immediately thought to myself, why would you call it filming, right? Like, there's no film cameras. Just thought that was funny. So, I don't know. He's very interested in this YouTube channel, and so I'm hoping that he can help me with it. Okay, yeah, that totally fits perfectly. Okay, I just noticed this. It says, oh wow, this case actually, let's see if I can orient that right. Hopefully this is showing up here, but MMG computer system. This is a Pentium 120 with 32 megabytes of memory, 1.6 gigabyte drive, hard drive, and a 32x CD-ROM. Like it has a serial number and a date of sale of December 25th, 1998. Wow. Okay. So I'm actually putting in older hardware than what this thing came with originally. Neat. But, you know, I tell you, these, this look though, I could have sworn this was, you'd see this in, you know, the early 90s, but maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, I love it. I love this thing. This always made me think of like a Cylon, you know, kind of like their face piece. Anyway. Okay, so I think this case is pretty much good to go. Of course, we'll see if the power supply blows up. Let's set this over here and then start getting my parts down. Keep this organized. Let's see. Thanks again, Mike Tech, for sending me that. It came here, shipped here perfectly, as you can see. No breakage whatsoever. Oh, man. No. Organization, what's that? Here's a box copy of Longbow. Not even sure where that came from. And then most importantly, a factory sealed version of Mist for Windows 3.1 and Windows 95. It's a CD-ROM, so I'm sure that's not sealed anymore. It looks like it's been opened. That would be something fun to throw up on this 486. You know, thinking ahead, I didn't actually think about these cameras and testing them with this the CRT that's just to the side of me. I'm wondering if there's going to be some scan line flickering, because those things always have odd refresh rates on CRTs and the camera, but yeah. Okay, so got a bunch of old hardware here. Let's start trying to find what we're going to build with today. So, random ATX card. If anybody calls me a hoarder, that is totally fair. All right, here's a post analyzer card. Let's definitely set that aside. Got a post analyzer card. I'll just kind of make a pile back there. These I/O boards, they are. Okay, so we'll definitely need these. So the motherboard that I'm gonna go with is VLB, and it comes from John over on the East Coast. Man, this is not a good way to package these. You know, as you pull these out or even put them in, it could shear off some of the parts. Okay, so it looks like this is a pretty standard UMC chipset I/O controller. Yeah, it looks like the date code on here is 1993. So yeah, we're starting to see some, you know, timestamps here, some date codes. It's like the 32nd week of 1993 that was built. Let's see, I have another one. This is also a UMC chipset. This one's slightly newer. It looks like it's 1994, the 46th week. Mega version D. Yeah, this is nice. So this would have, obviously it's got, whereas this one only has one IDE channel. Oh wait, yeah, only one IDE channel. This one has two IDE channels, a floppy port. Looks like serial and also a game port that you can add here. And of course it has the parallel port header here and that one RS-232. So I have those options. And then there's this one. This is a Promise controller. So this is an eIDE 2300 Plus from, looks like 1994 as well. Looks like that SMC chipset. Actually, that looks like it has a 1995 date code. No kidding. Okay, so this might be a bit newer. Trying to see, you know, this controller right here has a date code of or it just says copyright 1994. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's when it was built. But looking at other date codes here, this looks like it's from, some of these don't even have. There's an LS32 chip on there. I'm not sure, but let's see if this Windbound chip. I don't see any legible date codes there, but I'm gonna go with this A95. That could just be coincidence, but let's just say that this is what I'm gonna use. I think this is awesome because it's eIDE, so it'll be a bit faster. Probably end up using a compact flash with this, unless I can find a hard drive. Okay, so we're going with this. So I'll set that back here. Let's put these other controllers safely away. Okay, so we got our I/O boards going. And then what are these? Ah, video cards. Okay, so these are all VLB as well. All right, so we've got first one that I have here. This is a Trident card. So it looks like it has the TVGA 9200 chipset. John, I think this is the one that you sent with this, the motherboard. Yeah, this is definitely 1993. So this is a period correct card for, say if I wanted to target period correct. Here's another one. This is a Cirrus Logic. This looks like it's got the GD5426 chipset. And looks like this has got 1992 date codes on it. Yeah, this has 1992. This is an old card. So early VLB. That's fun. Maybe I'll use this one. I guess we'll see what happens. And then this is that card I was talking about. My friend in Montana brought this all the way from Montana. I've never tested this one. I have these ones, but not this one. But this is a Hercules brand VLB card. There's obviously 1995 copyright, 1995 date code. So this is a very late VLB card before VLB was phased out in favor of PCI graphics. Just looking at all the surface mount parts, I don't see anything missing. This, so yeah, it's got the S3 Trio 64 chipset, and it looks like this is branded as the Hercules Terminator 64 with DRAM. So I think this is what I'll go with as well. So going with the higher end stuff, I don't know, why not? We'll see if it even works. It could not. Maybe it'll explode. Okay, so let's see here. I've got, oh, this is a Hyundai Super 286C motherboard. I would love to find an empty case that I could put this in sometime in the future. This is also a 486 motherboard, it looks like, but it's not VLB. Go ahead and skip that one. This is another 486 motherboard. Oh, that's right. This is an odd one. Might not be able to see it through the bag, but this has a soldered on QFP Intel 486 SX, but then it also has in a socket a 486 DX2. Looks like it's a DX250 that's in here. That must have just been a random YouTube eBay purchase. Okay, looks like this is another socket 3 motherboard. This looks like it's another 486. It's all ISA. Oh, this one, that's right. This one I was gonna repair. Yeah, there's some traces that are totally eaten up by the battery that was here. That'll be for a different day. Maybe I'll try to repair that. And here it is. Okay, this is the motherboard that I've been looking for. So this is 486 motherboard. It has a 486 DX2 CPU on it. Let's try to set this here. Hopefully this is showing up on camera okay. But yeah, it's got a heat sink on there. It's not necessary for 486s. They didn't really run that hot. But yeah. This thing is tested. It works great. This has date codes all up and down of 1993. Got a copyright date on that BIOS chip of 1992. Yeah, I think this is what I'm going to go with. As you can see here, it has these ISA slots. We have the VLB slots here. Now I just have to think about the amount of ISA slots that I'll need, because the BBS that I want to turn this thing into, I have 4 33.6 modems that I plan to put in here. So let's see, we'll have the VLB video card in this slot. We'll have the multi-IO controller in this slot. And, I might do XT IDE, so I'll need a slot for something that has a card in it, so that could be one of these. And then, yeah, there's three slots for the 386 modems. So yeah, space is kind of a premium here. But yeah, we'll see how it works. These other motherboards, so like if I went with this damaged one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, did I just count that wrong? No, it's got 7 slots. Okay, well, let's go with the 7 slot motherboard. set this carefully here and hopefully don't get it totally damaged. I'm not wearing any grounding straps, so hopefully I don't live to regret that. Let's see if there's anything else in here that actually might be more fun. Oh, this is newer. This looks like it's a Pentium 4 motherboard. This is... Oh, this is a socket 7 motherboard. Nice. Well, that's too new. We can't have that. What was this one? Is this a 386? This is a 386. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not gonna use this one, but that would be fun to mess with later. Okay. So what else do we need? You know, I thought about like maybe a sound card would be important, but you know, slots are at a premium. But maybe today we'll put a sound card in there anyway, just for fun. Here's one that doesn't have the bracket. This is a good one. This has a, I think this has a, is there an OPL chip on this? I don't see one, but this is a Yamaha chipset card. Keep looking. I think I also got this from John way back in the day. Lots of cards from John. Thank you, John. Keep sending me stuff. Just don't tell my wife. Ethernet card. It's an old AGP card. I'm not a hoarder. You're a hoarder. Here's a... Okay, this is a PCI Ethernet card. Oh, this is an old... yeah, this is an old Western Digital MFM controller card from 1988. I think that came out of my leading edge Model D. It's in the shed. Man, I don't think I have... This is just a random VGA card. I'm hunting for a sound card. Got to be ISA, of course. More graphics cards. Well, might need to steal a sound card out of the 386 that I have built. These are just VGA cards. Okay, I don't have a sound card. Not terrible. It's not like we're actually going to be using this thing. Okay, so move this over here. So much we can walk over to the chat, see if anybody's mentioned something. Let's see here. Oh, cool. Bastion in here as well. How fun. All right, so where were we? So these things, which you probably can't see on video, need to go in here. Oops, some other stuff I need to put away. It's not period correct, man. Let's see, where else is all of the stuff that I need? Okay, so we're gonna need mounting hardware. So let's get this other bin. Did I mention that my wife likes to give me a lot of side-eye about the amount of bins I have of random stuff? I'm sure that there's people on this live stream that are in a similar situation. Okay, what am I looking for? Oh, right, mounting hardware. Hey, look, it's an 8087. Why not? Why not have something like that? Oh, that's right. I ordered some replacement socket 7 ZIFs to replace. I think I have a socket 7 motherboard where these little clips broke off, so the heatsink won't sit on it properly. I never got around to that. You know, I think a lot of this stuff I got during COVID because I was bored out of my mind during COVID. We were all stuck at home, and like, probably like many of you were like, what should I do with my spare time? Some ATX connectors. Anyway, so I think it's just like sitting at home, looking through eBay ads, buying stuff I shouldn't buy. Ah, okay, this is what I was talking about before. So I built this just for testing, but this is the power supply adapter that we'll be using. So this goes into the power supply, connects to here, and then these are the two AT style power connectors that go to your motherboard. And then I just soldered in and then electrical taped a switch on here. I tried to get the most clunky, awesome switches I could find because why not? That's fun. Anyway, so with ATX, you just have to short these two in order for the power supply to start. So later, I'll have to figure this out, how to connect that mains power switch that's on the front of that case to one of these adapters so that when I turn it on, it shorts these two these two wires so the ATX power supply turns on. The AT style, this would be controlling a mains voltage, you know, back in the day. Okay, so I need to find another one of these that doesn't have that, probably somewhere that I don't know. I didn't prepare for any of this. I don't know if you noticed. A bunch of random stuff in here. I haven't actually seen a lot of this in a while. What is this from? It's a bunch of alligator clips. Okay, I digress. Memory lane. It was COVID times, man. Ooh, I got a Pentium overdrive. This should work with this motherboard. Actually, no, I don't think that this will work properly. I think it's a voltage issue. Yeah, this is a... Well, it says DC 5 volts, so maybe it will. Maybe I'll try that later. I think I remember putting that in that motherboard and it wasn't stable for whatever reason, but... okay, I don't think this is what I need anything from. That was just a waste of time. How fun. Nostalgia, right? Need to figure out where all like my keyboards are. Okay, I need spacers. And yes, these little jars are extremely useful. Okay, I got these plastic spacers. If any of you remember building systems back in the day, you didn't always have those metal standoffs. You'd need to use these really super annoying plastic standoffs. This would kind of clip into the hole on the motherboard, and this would actually slide into the back of the case. And looking at that case, it's definitely a mix of, I could put standoffs in there, but I'm going to need these. So I'll set those aside, and then I need to figure out where my standoffs are. Stand for this. Here they are. Assorted PC standoff and screw kit. Beautiful. So there's two different types of standoffs that we're going to be choosing from. I don't know what the thread is in this case, but one has... these are, I think, 632s, and these are like M3s, the ones that have the finer thread pitch. So the goal is not to cross-thread at all that that case that I've never touched before. Let's see. Here. Just realized I didn't eat lunch. I didn't eat breakfast today. Why am I hungry? I'll have to figure out where to mount that speaker. Oh, wait, no, it does have a speaker. Speaker's back here. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm blind. Okay. Well, we won't need this speaker then. Oop. Watch as I break the thing I'm trying to build. Okay. So, there's no real art to this, but what you have to do is just look at where your motherboard's mounting holes are and then determine where you have to put the standoffs. And already from the get-go, I see that we could put two standoffs here, which is a good thing because we want that part of the motherboard to be mounted pretty well. And then those spacers will slide into here. So, you know, good. Well, this one is broken. Oh, I hate plastic standoffs. What were they thinking? This looks like it'll mount just fine. It looks like this is the cache memory up here. That'll just be covered by that. There's no holes over there to mount it anyway. Wow, this is going to be all... This looks like it'll be mostly those plastic standoffs. Ah, I hate those things. Okay, there is a battery on here. I don't want that to short out. Set that there. Put that there. Let's figure out these standoffs. Let's see which thread works. Nope. Not one of the thicker. I think those are just meant for maybe I/O port connectors. Those ones with the thicker threads. Okay, yeah. That is going in there, not getting cross-thread. You'll get caught up in the cross-thread. Cross-thread. Oh, the joys of building old PCs, right? Man, it's been so long since I've built a modern PC. I'm actually kind of curious as I'm talking about these standoffs if, yeah, that's still a thing. Or if, like, cases, they're all standardized. Motherboard manufacturers are all standardized, so it's the same holes, same locations. I don't know. Wait a second. That's not... Pick one with the wrong threads. Now, I'm just guessing that this is the spacing of the holes. As I mentioned, kind of a guessing game. Okay, so with those two standoffs in there, let's see if those line up properly. Pick out of there. Carefully slide in here, not to shear off any of the components. And hey, look at that. Those both line up perfectly. Okay, so we're going to need to then enjoy those plastic standoffs. So let's see. This is literally going to be flipping them on here. These are old and tired like I am. They're not really staying in. But these are very important. You don't want a motherboard to touch the metal part of the case, because it'll short out. No one wants that. Okay, so there's one there. Looks like we need, looks like I'm gonna run out of these. I definitely want one over here by the CPU. These things suck. Yeah, that's not really staying in there, but whatever. All right, and then I have some that are broken. I need to get more of these. But like I said, I want this thing not to have a chance of touching the back of the case. And there's no other holes. I think that is good enough. So let's put this in here carefully. Mention that this memory is so overkill. These 30-pin sim memories. This is from what is this from? It's from, I got these off eBay, but they're 16 megabyte DRAM. So this thing has 64 megabytes of memory, which for 486 back then is way more than anyone ever had. So not practical, but you know, why not? Why not? Did I mention I hate these things, these plastic spacers? It might be better if I actually slide them in there first so they don't fall out like that. But these are really in there. Yeah. I hate these things. I hate it. Definitely getting hungry. Looking forward to Thanksgiving dinner. I'm on the West Coast, so right now it's what, like, it's coming up on noon? I don't know. God, I hate these things. Have I mentioned how much I hate these plastic sliders? Hey, I think we have a purchase. Okay, so that's in there. Now I have to drive these screws into two of those. I need to figure out which screws go there. Fine, then thread pitch. Come on. Come on, dexterity. Okay, those work perfectly. Never want to cross thread anything. Gotta be very careful with this. Make sure that you're not gonna shear off anything. These things are old. It's kind of amazing thinking how old this motherboard is for 1993. Presumably when this was made was over 30 years ago. Loosen that one. Didn't line up perfectly. So I'm looking at this motherboard. These blue through-hole components, those are tantalum capacitors, and those are notorious for blowing up when things get old. So yeah, we'll see. We'll have this on and we'll fire it up and see if they blow up. Who doesn't love blowing up things? Okay, so what I typically prefer to do next when building any PCs is enjoying these connectors. The fun part is always, did I get the orientation right? Is the LED going to be driven right? Is the polarity right? You know, that LED, the LED display on the front, I'm actually kind of curious to see what that'll even show. But the turbo switch is going to it as well, because when you change the turbo switch, that LED speed indicator on the front then changes its readout. That'll be something to adjust and have fun with. So this is definitely the speaker. Let's start there. So I see it's just clearly marked as speaker. This is the hard drive LED. This is going to go on the VLB IO controller card. Motherboard doesn't have a header for that, of course. Here's the reset switch. Honestly, this is my least favorite part of building any computer are these headers. I think, like newer style cases and motherboards, that's all standardized now. Okay, so this is the fun part. So this is the key lock. So the power LED and the key lock are combined. And I don't know what the polarity is, but I'm gonna guess that it is in this orientation. If not, we just need to switch it around. When we turn this on for the first time, if it's not working, we'll figure it out. Okay, now this is interesting. So this is the turbo switch. And as you can see, there's a positive, negative, and positive. And then there's only two. You know what's interesting here? I don't, unless I'm blind, and maybe it's tucked away in there, but I don't see the turbo LED. Oh, you know, there must, I think there's a header for that. Yeah, I think I need to bridge between the turbo, or the frequency readout and that, or maybe it comes off the power LED. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But so this is for the turbo switch, and the turbo switch is here. So since there's only 2 pins, the center one is negative and the outside ones are positive. It shouldn't matter. So, okay. Awful cable management. What shall we put in next? Let's put in the VGA card. Just got to be careful with this because these VLB slots are tight. Ugh, it's like a, kind of imagine like a precursor to PCI. Wow, that is not coming in there right. It's like those standoffs are too tall. Maybe I just need to put more force down. Probably not force. Oh, man. Like I said, these are tricky. The ISA portion isn't seating all the way in there, and I'm running out of clearance up top. That is really weird. Maybe that's let's check the IO card, see if it's the same thing. Oh, I need to take that out. All right. Not, then I need to readjust these standoffs. No, this thing looks like it'll fit perfectly. Try to do this with 2 hands. No, that sits in there perfectly. So maybe I just needed to force that more. Okay, I don't want to take this off though, because later I need to put the IDE floppy cables in there and the power LED. I like to connect those before inserting the card. Let's try to force this one. Oh, that just doesn't feel right. I wonder if the standoffs need to be taller than they are. Those are the only standoffs I have. Suppose I could have put these between the motherboard and the standoffs. Maybe that gives it enough space. It's just an insulation gasket, as it's called on here. Huh. I don't think it matters at all where this card is. Oh, God, this sucks. Gotta be careful. Kind of curious what jumper 4 is. We'll look at that later. Let's try this last slot nearest to the processor and see if the height issue still exists there. No, it's the same thing. That is really weird. Is the thickness of these ISA the same? Yeah, that's the same. It's like the distance that this has to clear the top of the case. Well, we might need to go for one of those Trident cards after all, because I don't really want to take that thing out, but let's try. Going back to my bucket of parts again. Let's go closest to period correct. Let's pull that Trident card from 1993. It's not like we're going to be running lots of crazy games. One looks good. Has a few through-hole capacitors that don't look like they're puking their guts. It's got a lot of tantalum capacitors, This looks like it's a fuse. Interesting. Electronics. Let's see if this has the same issue. No, this one fits perfectly. That's really bizarre. We'll look over at the chat, see if any of you are yelling at me that I'm not realizing something. Let's see here. Yep. No one's commented on that. That's fine. But we're going with this older VLB, more period correct. How fun. Secure that down. We'll see how many times I end up having to undo this. Make sure the VGA connector is centered. It is. Okay. And what should I do next? Oh, we're going to have to think about storage. Imagine that. Imagine that. Now that I come to think of it, I don't even know if I have any compact flash adapters. Maybe I do. Hopefully I do. I have to pillage them from somewhere else. Have I mentioned yet that I haven't planned for this at all? Just had kind of a thought. No. I do not have any more of the compact flash adapters. Well, that's very limiting. It's over here. What you can't see off screen is me futzing with all this stuff over here. Oh, found more of the ATX things. Good. Oh, these are nice. Well, this isn't solving my problem right now, but I'll definitely need to get to this. But here is that ATX to AT adapter, and these are the two leads that must remain shorted for the system to power on. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm actually going to need to create an extension wire to that mains voltage switch. That's not long enough. No problem. That's for future Tony. Actually, that might work. Stretching that all the way over there. The challenge, though, is that these are much smaller clips. So I'm going to need to find something that goes over those main clips or solder these on. But one thing that I can do in the meantime, though, is just simply use that one that I had made already that has that switch. In fact, let's just do that. And if necessary, I can always just plug it and unplug it. So let's take care of that part next. So AT, the black wires, the ground leads are always in the center. So make sure that these are going in the right. These are keyed, but you know. Here we are. Come on. Oh. Hopefully I just didn't damage that. There's a few diodes over here that I just shoved this connector into. Cool. It's not like I'm working with very old breakable stuff. Come on. Now watch as I struggle. I'm struggling with a lot of things. See any issue with this? I mentioned these are keyed to fit only one way, but I don't see any. What am I not doing right? God, I hate this one of these. Oh, there we go. Okay, just had to give it some finesse. So yeah, AT power connectors were obnoxious. And then ATX is amazing. It's just one connector. Mate these for the first time. Looks like this has a extra voltage. Oh yeah, this is a. Let's separate that. It's for. Forget an ATX land what that was for, but these are also keyed. This can only go in one way. In fact, can this be reversed? Nope, good. It is keyed. All right, we have connected that. So this system can actually power on now. That might not be a bad place for us to start to see if anything shorts out or blows up. Let's do that. Let's blow some stuff up. Let's see how horrible this CRT monitor looks on the cameras that I have. Let's organize this a bit more. Move this stuff out of the way. Got that post analyzer card as well. These were the case screws. So, oh shoot, don't drop those. Back here, post analyzer card. Move that a bit closer. All right, got VGA. Now I need 2 power cables. Imagine that. Oh, it's down here. Where is my stuff? Where's my stuff and things? All right, what do we got over here? Oh, hey, I found my S-Video to HDMI converter. Put that aside for later. You know what? I'm gonna err on the side of caution here. Angled cables. I'm gonna use this trip-light isobar to carefully power everything up and down, because I don't like things. Okay, first and foremost, make sure this is in the off position. ATX power switch is also in the off position. Let's unsafely daisy chain this power strip to another power strip. The EHS&S person that I work with is watching this. I don't do this at work. I swear. All right. Okay, this is off. Everything is off. Plug in the monitor as well. Wow, this is a very short power cable I fished out. Let's get a longer one. And just organize this cable bar. The wife was very happy. I actually recently went through 2 of my cable boxes and found that I could throw out everything in them. So the most undad thing ever is purging your multiple boxes of cables, but here we are. Speaking of the wife, she's messaging me. I need to see if she wants me to do something. I feel kind of bad. She is probably cooking and preparing for Thanksgiving. See what she says. Oh, okay. She's just talking to me about wine. I love wine. Wine is good. Okay, this is a much better cable. Plug that into this monitor. Okay. Let's see if I can actually zoom in with this to see if we can catch any explosions. Watch as I probably hit the wrong thing. Oh, it does work. Cool. Okay, that's better. So, what you probably can't see is me. I'm gonna turn on the power switch, the thing first, the power strip. That's good. I don't see anything that could possibly short. The monitor is on. Yep, it's on standby. Okay, we're gonna turn on the ATX power supply that I haven't tested, and no explosions. And is it posting? Is it barely booting? No, it's not doing anything. That's discouraging. All right, let's use the post analyzer card. These things are awesome. This will show you what it's doing. If all the voltages are good, if they're bad. Zoom out a bit. So this goes into the rear. Any ISA slot will do. Let's have it be this one so I can see it the best. All right, let's try that again. Oh, I see postcodes. I see perfect voltages. But nothing on screen. Okay, what am I doing wrong? Is it plugged in? Yes, it's plugged in. Has memory. I'm not hearing any beeping, but those are correct postcodes. Looks like it's 12 and then 11. Okay. Well, the PC speaker is there. It's plugged in. And the polarity is fine. This is where it doesn't barely boot. How fun. Be the video card. Could be. Maybe. Let's swap that out. Just take that out. Safety. That out. Turn off the power supply. Everything. Okay. VGA card is free. Oh. It would help if I unscrewed it first. Very carefully. Take that out. You know, I wonder if this thing wasn't actually inserted all the way. It's the same kind of weird issue with the other VLB card. What I'm gonna do is, I'm happy that these standoffs are here to hold it in place, but I'm gonna loosen these a bit, just a little bit, just so it can. Yeah, it's very loose now. With that there, let's try that VLB card again. The S3. Now, again, I haven't ever tested this before. I don't know if it'll work, but we weren't getting any video signal on my monitor, so we were testing that first. It'd be cool if I had all the fun horns and whistles that Adrian has over at Adrian's Digital Basement. He'd probably pull out an oscilloscope and look for VGA symbols, a signal on his scope. Yeah, that is just not in there right. I don't want to pry up on this. No, that's a bad idea. All right, well, my guess is that Trident card that I had in there wasn't in there all the way either. And I think the ISA slot is only giving this power because all of the video signal goes into the VLB bus. And the VLB side of this is plugged in. I think that's making good enough contact. Let's try this again. Power strip. Monitor is on. Power supply on. Oh, now I'm getting beeps. That's always a good sign. I got a bunch of beeps. I think that was the error code for no VGA. Okay, well, that makes sense. I don't think that this thing is in there all the way to get its power. Oh gosh, I hate these. I was worried that I'm gonna pull this out at the wrong angle and totally destroy that VLB port. Okay, so we've got a problem. We've got to figure out why this motherboard is so low. Why are you so low, man? And unfortunately, that means removal. I don't want to do that though. Why else would this thing? How would these headers be low for this? I mean, high. Did I forget something? Maybe I did. I don't know what I'm doing, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to take out the motherboard and see. But so far, the good news is motherboard still works. It's been in that static bag for a long time. Oh, post analyzer card's still there. These are still connected. Okay, so let's think about this. What did I do wrong? These standoffs are clearly not pushing this motherboard up all the way. These plastic standoffs are all the same height. They're doing as good as they can. all I can think of is put those insulators between the motherboard and the standoffs, but getting those lined up is going to be that sounds awful. You know what I could do for now is unthread these. This is like not a good thing. Actually, that's a better idea. Carefully just set this right on this. Why not? Why not? Stay there. Don't short out. So these things actually have decent amount of threads on them. What I'm thinking of is I have those spacers. Let's start with putting like a few of them on there. Of course, I needed what I just put this on. I'm smart. And I just dropped it. Cool. Here we go. So it's these spacers. Really looking forward to reviewing the comments later, and if somebody's just like screaming at their screen like, you're doing it wrong. I'm probably doing it wrong. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking of. There are these spacers. I'm gonna try putting 4 on there because that bit of a gap is totally what I was seeing needed. Yeah, and there's plenty of threads that this can go in there. That might be too much. We shall see. I'm mentioning how in modern computers everything is so standardized, you don't have to do stuff like this. Again, maybe you do. I don't know. Come on. You could say that this is very screwed up. Why is that not even? This needs a bit more thread than the other hole where it's actually biting. There we go. Okay, so this one has 4. Remove one to match the other one. The other one has 3, so I'm going to make them both have 3. Actually, that like that one already has 3. No, it was still there. Okay, let's try that again. The clip's still over here. They are. Obligatory mention of how much I hate those things. What were they thinking? I mean, I guess people weren't constantly rebuilding their PCs. Kind of like set once and forget, maybe. Oh my gosh. Come up back here. There we go. Okay. That looks better. Let's secure this back down. Don't tighten that one yet. They're all started and in there before you tighten. That feels good. Also feels good. Never want to over tighten those two, because what can happen is that those standoffs, if they weren't secured in there enough, they'll actually just come off and be fixed to your motherboard. Okay, let's try that again. Let's see if we now have enough space for this VLB graphics card. Yes. All right. Yeah, that is for sure all the way in there now. Okay, so let's test to make sure that it works at this point. Let's see if we finally get video. Hopefully my CRT monitor is okay. It's been a while since I used it. Okay, power strip is on. I heard the CRT turn on. It is in standby. Got the amber light. Okay, ATX power on and chunky switch on. Oh, did not turn the ATX power supply on. I'm smart. Okay, will we see? Will this barely boot? I'm still getting some beeps. Interesting. Still nothing. I forget what that beep count is. I'm guessing that it's no graphics card found. Well, now that the spacing is right, let's try the other Trident card that wasn't resulting in any beeps, but just nothing. Yeah, that also fits in there so much better. So much more gooder. Okay. No beeps. And is that an image? Green light's on, but no picture. I don't know if you can see this. So I'm kind of curious to see with that on now. You're seeing horrible scan lines in the. No, nothing. Huh. Post analyzer code looks like it's proceeded through the memory count, which is awesome, but there's still nothing on the display. Monitor went out of standby mode, which is a good sign. Looks like I'm getting 70 hertz, which is, help me out here, 70 hertz, if I'm seeing this, that would be the BIOS boot screen. So it's getting a signal. It's at the boot screen, but nothing is showing on my CRT. And it's obviously not going past that. Okay. That's weird. Let's throw parts at it. Like I said, if I were Adrian and I had all the cool stuff, I would troubleshoot this more effectively, but we're gonna just throw parts at it. Here's the Cirrus Logic card. Pretty sure that this was in good working condition. All the memory is seated. Just love that crunch of a socket. Is this off still? Good, it is. Turn that off here for safety. Okay, third card. This is the Trident card. You know, it's interesting. This thing has quite a lot of space up here. Interesting. Okay. On. Here we go. Post analyzer card. Oh, there we go. Okay. So this Cirrus Logic card is working. As you can, you can't hear this, but it just counted up. Yeah, keyboard error. Okay. Now I want to peek over here and see if that looks horrendous. Oh, this doesn't look so bad. You can kind of see a refresh rate. This is at 30 frames or 60 frames per second, and this is at 70 hertz. So, you know, if this is continuing to boot. Anyway, all right, so it's barely booting. Wonderful. We can see that this Cirrus Logic card is where we want to go. I am sad that this S3 card doesn't work. I'll have to figure that out at a later time. But that beeping was obviously from no VGA found. You know, just looking at the traces here, not the traces, the edge connectors, they're pretty dirty. Should have spotted that before. You know, let's try that. I would love to use this card. Let's take a detour. I want to clean those up. Whoa, here we go. Okay, so known working good Cirrus Logic card. This Trident card does not work. The one from 1993, the oldest video card out of these. We really want to get this one working. Or at least I do. Did I just make a we statement? I did. Okay, I want to go with isopropyl alcohol and some Q-tips. All right, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to pause this and get some cotton swabs. I'll be right back. Like I said, I wasn't planning for any of this. All right, we're back. Switch the view again. All right, I have stolen some Q-tips from the wife, and I am gonna grab my isopropyl alcohol. Let's give these edge connectors a bath. I've got 99% isopropyl alcohol for technical use. That's how you know it's good. All right, let's breathe some fun ISA fumes. IPA. Not the kind of IPA you'd want to drink. Dip that in there. Close this right away. I don't want this to evaporate. And so all I'm going to do is go crosswise first. Oh yeah, that's pretty gross. Not to say that this is our problem, but it could be. Oh yeah, these the ISA side of the edge connectors are pretty bad. Oh yeah, that's very dirty. I'm hoping that's just simply the problem. So I'd love to use this card. And my friend from Montana, Neil, thank you again for lugging us all the way here to Portland. You're just tuning in. Hi, I'm building a 486 system. We're troubleshooting why this video card does not turn on. I'm currently cleaning its edge connector. Change cotton. Perfect. Surprisingly, no one's made fun of me yet for doing this. My wife has currently walked into the garage. You can't hear her though, but I'm sure she's just like, "Are you done yet?" I like, you're such a dork. Come watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with me. Actually sounds like a good idea. Oh yeah, that is very, very dirty. Oop, shit. Shoot. Spilled isopropyl alcohol over everything. It's okay. Stuff evaporates. You know, another thing that I could use is deoxit. Because that not only takes away the corrosion, but it also provides some protection for this edge connector. In fact, let's do that. I just need to find where I put the cap. Where did I put the cap for my IPA? Oh dear God. Oh, jeez. I'm blind. You'd think with these thick glasses I'd be able to see everything. Okay, so let's make sure that the ISA is evaporated. Below on it, the Nintendo cartridge. And then with that said, let me grab the deoxit. Oh, you know, I don't have the applicator. I bought that off Amazon. But I do have deoxit. Oh, this is fader. Deoxit fader. I need the actual spray. Go everywhere and make a mess. There it is. Deoxit D5. If I were Adrian, I would say let's put some deoxit in this socket. I'm sure a lot of other people say that as well. But I'm going to put it in this. This is getting everywhere. Okay. So I've applied it to the ISA slot and the VLB thing. So the purpose of this is to break up anything that might be in these edge connectors, but then also to coat the edge connector of this card. Also, it's kind of a lubricant, so it allows these cards to come in and out. So I'm going to put it in and take it out a few times because this should hopefully break up any oxidation and ensure that it's coated on everything. Okay, so we've cleaned the edge connector with the ISA, and we've just put deoxit in those edge connectors. And that is firmly in there. So let's try this again. Connect the VGA cable again. Okay. Power strip. Power supply is already on. There we go. See if we get beeps. Oh, and it works. Imagine that. A dirty edge connector and possibly also a dirty connection. Oh, cool. Okay, this thing has this VLB card, the Hercules Graphite Terminator. Looks like it has 2 megabytes of display memory. You know, in the context of the system, that's going to mean that I can have higher resolution, which is awesome. Not really practical for DOS games, but for just getting into the Windows era, because this card is 1995. I'm guessing this is going to have, it was marketed for people that, hey, you put in 480 or you're putting Windows 95 on your 486 VLB system. Here's a card that can help you know, accelerate the video. So this is awesome. It's just barely booting. So let's turn this off and continue. First, let's we need my screw case again. I'm happy with the height of the motherboard. This VLB graphics card seems to fit in there perfectly. You know, it's kind of fun though. In doing any of the stuff with retro computing, I've never actually needed to use deoxit for anything. Everything has just worked. So that was the first time I've had to ever clean an edge connector and put deoxit in it to get it to work. Okay, it's one of these screws, that's right. It's a fun thing about these old AT cases. All screw sizes are different depending on what you're doing. Oop, let's take that off. Okay, that looks good to me. Okay, so next we need to figure out storage. You know, we have everything else. We've got memory, and I don't need this post analyzer card anymore. Let's remove that before I forget about it. Pull that out of here. Set these USB video cards over here. GUI deoxit. Let's tackle storage next. So I have no idea what I'm going to do for storage. Have I mentioned that I didn't really think this through? I'm going to mention it again. We are going with this. This is a eIDE, so on the slightly faster side of old school IDE. I think I have some IDE hard drives. They're down here. Let's see. I would love to use a hard drive just for the sound aspect of it. Of course, I have a bunch of new stuff. Here's a floppy. Let's go for a floppy disk. This is a Mitsumi. So we'll go with this Mitsumi floppy drive. I also have 2 of these. Wow, these are covered. This is a Sony. Let's pull both of these out. This one's very dirty. Just in case one doesn't work. I haven't tested these. I'm looking for a hard drive. Here's a CD-ROM. Let's go with this. Hey, John, recognize that handwriting? This also came from John. John is like our computer hoarding dealer. I think that's funny. All right, still looking for a hard drive down here. Here's an Acer drive. That one looks really chunky and old as well. Although it's Acer, this can't be very old. Oh, manufactured 1995. Okay. Kind of getting out of the period correct side. When was this manufactured? This was, update? October 2000. If that's the case, I'm going to go with older, just for the heck of it. All right, still need to find a hard drive. Hey, it's a hard drive. Now, I do not have something that is going to be period correct in terms of size. And I'm pretty sure that this old motherboard will not be able to support larger disks. But for now, I'm going to go with this 80 gigabyte Barracuda drive. I want authentic hard drive noises. I don't know if this works. We shall see. But let's start putting this in. So this lower part is where we want this to go because the floppy will go above it. And that looks just about right. I don't want it to go any further than that. Okay, so we'll drive it in, no pun intended, with those 2 holes. Where's my stuff with the things? Let's go. Mention the screw sizes are all different in these computers. Is that the right thread? Yes. No. Nope, that is not. God. That back where I found it. I think that was one of these. No. Okay, I think it's actually one of this size. Yes. All right. And I guide that in there. I want this to be right here. Interesting though, this actually has screw holes. You can't see it probably from this, but you could actually secure the drive in from the bottom. I'm just noticing that this is also looks like this is where a speaker would go. It has the a radius shape to it, and it has these 3 clips. But the interesting thing is that there's a speaker down here already in the case. So, I wonder why. I wonder why there's 2. Would you have stereo PC speakers internally? I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen something like that. Okay, we'll secure the other side in a moment, but we've got the hard drive in, and now we've got to do floppy. Let's see, should we do Sony? I wonder when this is manufactured. It'd be kind of nice if these had a date on them. I'm sure that this has never been serviced or cleaned. That's one thing that I always like on the Mic Tech videos. Mic Tech, you always clean these things properly as part of your process. And I don't know, just kind of nice to see that. Okay, we'll put the floppy disk drive here. I think in the future I might want to connect a, well, I don't know. There's a Gotek. The Gotek devices allow you to use a USB flash drive to then emulate floppy disks. I have a Gotek. It's in my 386 build. I don't really want to take that out. But yeah, man, we're not going compact flash. We're going actual hard drive, not period correct hard drive, but an 80 gig hard drive. That's like, that was what standard in like probably like around the late aughts, would you say? I don't know. Who am I talking to? I'm sure everybody is currently having Thanksgiving dinner now. I did get some side eye from the wife about like me doing this, which is great. I live for the side eye. It's what gives me life. Best part about being a husband is getting the wife to give side eye. Why is she still married to me? I don't know. We've been together since 2004. We got married in 2009. She's an awesome person. I don't know what I'd do without her. Okay, so we have the floppy drive and we have the hard drive in there. Now I need cables. Oh geez, I hope I have cables. You hope I have cables, you say. Let's see, this first one won't work. This has the older, I think this is a Shugart connector. And that does not have that on there. Let's go hunting in my off-camera box. Oh shoot. Meanwhile, I'm gonna destroy my speakers. Clean this. Here we go. Wow, this is a really old looking, gross looking cable. I bet this cable came from one of the old systems I acquired. Oh, here's where that PS2 mouse went. Oh, it's an extra serial port cable. You know, I'm actually gonna go with this. I might need. Well, I mean, the I/O card already has a serial port. This controller card has a port for another serial port, but do I really need it? For Windows 3.1, I'm gonna go with a serial mouse. All of my modems are gonna be internal modems, so yeah, I won't need that extra serial port. I need an IDE cable, and I do not see one. That is not good. I need an IDE cable. No. Uh, where would I have put an IDE cable? Let's go check my other boxes. Crud. I might need to go definitely get into another system and steal some things. Well, it is what it is. I just see an older floppy cable over in this box. Okay, guess I'm gonna have to pull out one of my older systems. It is what it is. Hey, Livy. Disconnect you, put you temporarily over here. Really happy this thing is working. Okay. Put you right here. It'll be interesting to see if that 80 gig hard drive that I chose is going to be even seen if it's backwards compatible. But I think for all things IDE. Okay, this is my 386 build, and I'm actually really upset about this because the I'm not sure if you can see this, but let me push it in the camera. I was talking before about how these older computers are very brittle, but I did this accidentally. It's nothing that what my plan is to glue this in place, this piece that broke up here, glue it into place, and then give it all a beige painting so that it blends well, but I just haven't gotten to that. In fact, I think I mentioned that I haven't done anything with retro computing in over a year. Just been too busy with work and with family. I took this week off from work to have some frivolity. It was important to have some frivolity. Yeah, this is my 386 build that I made. So let's steal some things out of here. So I need an IDE cable. That's a floppy cable. Oh, there's a sound card in here. Well, let's steal the sound card. Why not? I love these connectors. Okay, one IDE cable. Should be good enough to drive both the hard drive and the CD-ROM if I want that. Oh, nice. This has the AMD 386 DX40 CPU. And I don't know if you can see this down in here, but that's a math coprocessor. I think this is one of those eBay things. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. I need that. This actually has a lot of really cool parts in it. We're gonna steal the sound card. This has something kind of cool on it. In fact, I'm gonna take the compact flash to IDE adapter out of here as well. But this is a Sound Blaster Vibra 16, and this has the a newer wavetable board on here for fun. So let's totally use this. And I'm just noticing that my CD-ROM was actually connected here to its IDE interface, which is fairly period correct. The CD-ROM that I have is a TAPI IDE compatible, so I could run it right off the thing. But you know, I want this in the 486 build because this is from 1994, whereas this 386 really deserves to have something that's a bit older, more period correct. I'm justifying stealing parts, guys. It's important to talk that through. So, thinking maybe we do the compact flash instead, just because it's so much more convenient. But so what the compact flash is it's literally just a way that you can put a compact flash card onto the IDE bus. Compact flash, it is actually IDE. So there's not much circuitry or things that need to be done. In fact, I'm kind of curious what these circuits on here. I see like a transistor, a couple of capacitors. I wonder if that's just for like voltage smoothing or changing. Okay, I'll leave this on. Pull that out. All right, so this is a 4 GB compact flash. I'm going to leave that out. We might need that if that hard drive is dead. I don't think I need to steal anything else from here. In fact, let's steal the CD-ROM audio. I think that's going to be important if I have like a CD-ROM based game where it had the soundtrack. Oh, so this has the This is the GoTech. This is that piece that broke. This case also came from Mike Tech, but I love this case. I just need to get this this plastic part fixed. That should be no problem. But this is the GoTech that I was talking about earlier. This is a floppy emulator. It plugs right onto the same floppy bus, but what it allows you to do is plug a USB flash drive in here, and with this knob and these two buttons, you can toggle between floppy images. So I think there's a size limit for the USB flash but you could put pretty much any floppy you can imagine on here, and then just toggle through it. But I'm going to torture everybody by actually installing DOS and Windows later with actual floppies. Why? Why not? Although this video is already getting long, I'm sure my wife is going to make me end this. Okay, so let's put this all back. What did I just do with the cover? Oh, it's over here. Derp. I always love the sound that this makes. You know, you pull it off and it kind of makes like a fun sound. I'm not a nerd, you're a nerd. Yep. Okay, we have the parts we need. Where did I put the 486? I think might be time for me to go get some lunch. Oh, I set it over here. Wow. I am so smart. Smarty. Okay. So for now, like I said, I'm going to stick with the hard drive. I just need to be very aware about the amount of ISA slots that I'm left with. I'm going to put the sound card at the very bottom here. And I think this 486 will end up being fully populated with every card when I put the 4 33.6 modems in here. Oh man, this card is like not going in. Do I need to change this? You know, it's gonna be fun though. These the addressing is all manual, and that's not something that I'm messing with yet. Is the address for the ISA bus? This isn't really plug and play. At least I hope not. Plug and pray is awful. Anyway, just gently let this go in. There we go. That kind of fun ISA card quirk where you kind of have to put a corner of it into the slot and then shove the other part down before it'll actually go in. Okay, that's secured. All right, let's get back to storage. So the first and foremost thing is that we need to put the hard drive LED connector on here, and I'm not sure. This has a dual pole connector, and as you can see, there's 4. So actually kind of makes me wonder if half of this is for IDE channel 1 and the other side of it is for the other thing. I'm going to leave all of the addressing the same because the last I used this was with this motherboard. But we'll see if we get any, you know, IRQ or addressing conflicts. That was the fun part. Who misses having to set IRQs? What am I doing? I need to do the most important part first, which is install cables. So the stripe is pin 1. This one is J1. So this is probably the primary IDE channel. Pin 1 is over here. Make sure there's no overlap, that it isn't bending the pins. Okay, that looks good enough. Now let's struggle to get this one in here. Trying to do this carefully as I can. This is old stuff. Okay, that's there. Where's my screw box? It's one of the bigger threads. One of these dirt. All right. Making progress. As you can see, we have 4 slots left. Although I'm going to have to figure out, I think the 33.6 modems that I have are 8-bit ISA, because I have 3 16-bit ISA slots and then this single 8-bit. I'm hoping those modems are 8-bit. If not, then I'll have to take the sound card out. But you know, this is we're just gonna leave that sound card in here for now because it's fun. Okay, so we only have some power connectors here to choose from, and I bet this ATX power supply does not have, oh it does, it has a single connector for the floppy drive. That's awesome. Okay, that has power, and then we'll just run this straight down to, I should have put the cables on there first and I didn't, oh well. The other thing is that this is on cable select mode. It looks like there's no jumper in there at all. I'm just gonna stuff this over here. Let's go furthest first. Let's put the, oh, what did I do? This is the Shugart connector floppy. No. All right, well, let's see if I can disconnect this with this still being in here. I didn't like doing that. All right, I need to get the right floppy cable. Jeez, I hope I have one. I should have pulled it out of that 386. Let's check the chat, see if anybody is making fun of me. Wow. How fun. Cool. All right. Just looking at the chat there. We got Bastion, we got John chatting in there. You guys are awesome. Sorry to take you away from your Thanksgiving. Now I need to find the proper floppy cable. Oh, this is interesting. I don't know where this came from, but it's probably pulled from a system, but it's a bunch of cables all zip tied together. Let's go ahead and clip this apart. Here's my edge cutters. There they are. But this has the correct floppy cable. Need to get a garbage bag over here. I'm sure not to pierce the ribbon cables. Wow, someone was really determined with the cable management on this. Look at that. It's all like folded and wrapped around. That's awesome. Okay, so we got a couple of IDE cables that came off, and what we need is this floppy cable. Okay, sweet. He's back in my cable box. Be fun to put like a YouTube poll up here. How many of you guys that are watching this, how many cable boxes do you all have? Okay, this is going to be fun. Pin 1 is down here, so this is going to be a bit difficult to slide in. I don't want to break this, so I'm just going to pull this card back out. Shortcuts and vintage computers. Never do it. To get like a leverage point. There we go. Okay. Do over. And 1, make sure that this is actually going in there correctly. Okay. Keep forgetting. Honestly, it's kind of unnerving doing this because I'm like talking to myself. And then I'm like, why are you talking to yourself? Oh, right, you're live streaming. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we got all this in here correctly. 1 pin. Okay. How fun. Kind of curious, is that deoxit still? Yeah, there's one thing about deoxit that it obviously it evaporates a lot of it, but what you're left with is the coating, the protective coating that is you know, it's a solvent. It clears away the oxidation on components, but then it leaves a kind of lubricant and protection, and that's what you want. Okay, so let's go with this floppy data cable. I'm going to go all the way to the end. And this definitely has a pin 1 that I need to be aware of, and I don't know where pin 1 is on this. Is there a mark on it? No, there is not. I'm going to guess that it is, well, if any of you know what to expect, what you'll see is that the floppy drive light will just stay on if this is reversed. So we're just going to guess. Like Bob Ross, if it works, it'll be a happy accident. Wait, that's not how that goes. Okay, this clearly says that this is slave. This is at least keyed, which is nice. I know that pin 1 is here. Okay, and I don't want to forget to give my CPU fan power. 486s ran without a heatsink back in the day. The 486 DX2 66 was like the last one generally that had the silk screen printed on there that said heatsink required. Anything that was one of the higher clocked 486s, like the AMD variations, those all had silk screen on there, heatsink required. And now they don't even put that on there because it assumes that, well, of course you're going to put a heatsink on there. But I like to put a heatsink on there just to keep it cool. Okay, I am forgetting the CD-ROM. So let's put this back here. Am I even going to need the CD-ROM? I'm doing everything with, let's leave that out for now. Let's do that. Okay, let's make sure that we haven't broken anything. Let's give this thing power again. Turn off that power strip. And do this in sequence. So we've got the power strip. Monitor is on. Love the sound of the degaussing when you turn that on. And then let's see. Oh, it's probably time that I get my keyboard out. You, sir. I'm going to shove it back here. So one thing that I do not have are proper period correct keyboards. This is something that I got off of Amazon. This is a new keyboard. It's a PS2 keyboard, and I have this adapter. The one thing that this can't do for me is function as an AT keyboard. Sorry, an XT keyboard. But I do have an XT older keyboard that I use for my 8088 system. But I digress. Ooh. I think at some point I'm going to need to replace that AT keyboard connection. It's a bit loose, but it doesn't matter right now. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Is it going to barely boot? Anything blow up? Beep codes aren't good. I don't know what that was. Probably it could be an address conflict. I'm actually going to plug the monitor in. I wonder if that's what it was. Forgot to plug the monitor in. Try to think, but nothing happens. Try that again. Nope. And that floppy disk light is on. So I'm going to turn this off. I don't know. I haven't memorized beep codes in my life, so I don't know what that meant. You can't actually hear it. I have OBS is set. Turn that back on. Floppy drive light is off, which is good. Interesting. Well, I mean, the things that I've added to this point are the sound card and the I/O controller. So let's reverse order troubleshoot. Let's just pull things. So I'm just going to pull the sound card out. In case it's a I or Q conflict, which it probably is. Ow. Just pierced my skin with that connector. Okay. See if it was that. Nope. Nope, still beeps. Interesting. If the I'm still not really sure what fixed the video problem earlier, right? It could have been cleaning the edge connector with isopropyl alcohol. It could have been spraying deoxit But I'm going to take this out and just see if this is the culprit. This ISO, or the on. No beeping. Nope, still beeping. Interesting. Why would that be the case? The only things, this was posting earlier. That was one long beep and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it wasn't this IO controller. I'm going to go over to my PC. Beep codes. Okay, that was, okay, Google, don't fail me. One long beep, 5 short beeps, 486. Bad video card. Interesting. So according to Google's AI, says a beep code of 1 long, 5 short beeps typically indicates a memory error, while 5 short beeps often points to CPU or graphics problem. Okay, so this is memory. Did something get dislodged back here as I was pushing things in? Could be. Do I need to deoxit these? Oh, that was it. One of these had become oh no, oh no. These all don't feel right. Let's just remove and reinstall. Okay, so yeah, these are parity sims. And reinstall these. It'd be wild, you know, like I mentioned, this board hasn't been powered on in many, like maybe 2 years, 3 years. It's been here in the garage, which doesn't really get moist at all, but oh my god, these metal clips are kind of bent up. You know, I think that was definitely the problem. It looks like maybe as the IDE and floppy cable, as I was messing with them, one of these became dislodged because the memory clips aren't holding them in. Oh my gosh. You know, actually, I think I own some replacement 30 sim. There we go. Always important to have a gasket pick for doing anything. Okay, that feels like it's in there. Well, both clips have it in place. 30-pin sims, man. At least this isn't SIP memory. SIP packages had a pinned connector. I've never personally owned a computer that has SIP memory, either 72-pin or this 30-pin. Yeah, man, I'm having to manually move these metal clips. They're supposed to just kind of bend out of the way and then clip in place. But I don't want to force this. Again, this is a over 30-year-old piece of hardware. I'm just happy that these aren't plastic clips. Those are always prone to breaking. Okay, memory reseated. Let's not put this back in yet, but let's see if it now powers on. Oh, that is really weird. I mean, the only thing I've given it is more power, Captain. Maybe there is an issue with this VLB slot. Let's turn that back on. I just wiggled the card a bit. Oh. Odd. Could it be that the power supply doesn't have a sufficient voltage? Maybe something is getting shorted? Because the other thing that I did was provide power to a hard drive. Oh man, these Molex connectors are awful. Even though the hard drive isn't plugged into anything? I'm just curious about the voltage. Nope. It's like I have a post analyzer card, and I could probably use this to determine what the code is. I am smart. Plug this back in. Rear of the PC. Got the handy one that has the external LED so you can see what it's saying. Now it's not beeping at all. Did I plug this in wrong? I did plug it in wrong. Yikes. Hopefully that just held the system in reset and didn't break anything. That would be horrible. Okay, so it's stopping at 40th and 3A. Huh. Yeah, I'm not sure. It'd be wild if the RAM went bad in the time it was sitting here. This is new memory. It's definitely reseated in there, right? I need to go up and see what those postcodes are. Did I do anything else to this? You know, I did give it, back when I had disconnected the floppy cable, I did flex the card quite a bit. So I'm wondering if there's something faulty with this, the edge connector. Let's move this down. Because that was the same beep code, I think. That was when this card wasn't working. So let's put that all the way down into the last VLB slot. Okay. Yep, that was it. Now it's posting. Something is wrong with that VLB slot. It's counting up memory, you can't hear it. Making that fun, fast noise. Yeah. Keyboard error. Really? Yeah, this AT keyboard connector has seen better days. I don't think the keyboard was connected all the way. Okay, so let's just leave it in the slot. It shouldn't matter. The VLB slot it doesn't work like ISA. It doesn't really matter what slot you have this in, but I'm going to screw this down and then make sure it still boots. Yep. Something is wrong with those slots. Still no connection with the keyboard. Oh, no, keyboard is fine. Okay. Yeah, I'm in the BIOS now. Okay, well, all right. Bad VLB slot. So I am going to just use that then for a modem, because just the ISA slot, of course, it could be the ISA portion of it that's wrong. I'm going to put the multi-IO card not in that slot either. It's a horrible noise to hear. It's a horrible crunch noise. Okay, everything is connected. Let's see if the addition of the multi-IO card is going to play nicely. Yeah. System posts. Let's see if the auto configuration or the auto detect hard drive works. It's definitely not going to detect this right. Is the LED on? I have the yeah, the power LED is on. The hard drive light's not doing anything. Yeah, not detected. I'm gonna have to figure out the parameters for that hard drive. Yeah, user type. Oh, it did find it. No kidding. It's showing it as an 11 gig. Try that again. auto detection process. That could have been a leftover setting from when I had this thing running last. Good times. Good times. Oh, we've been going for 2 hours. Yeah, John, you're right on that. By the way, there's a delay here, so I'm just over here looking at the chat, and I see that you know, dust or corrosion in the VLB slot. Yeah, I think in the future, you know, if there's a problem, yeah, I didn't detect that hard drive at all. I'll have to come up with some settings for it. Just a size and geometry that will work for the maximum size that thing can work. You know, it'd be interesting to put MR bias on here, or even do XT IDE. Because this thing is probably only ever going to have up to 504 megabytes that it can see. But yeah, I'm at least happy to see that this thing boots. The hard drive is working. Yeah, this is what I had in here before. Interesting. 11 gig. And that's an 80 gig hard drive. Kept the time, sort of. This shows that it's Wednesday, October 30th, 2024. I wonder if that CR 2032 needs to be replaced. Just kind of looking through all these options here just because I'm curious. Memory timing, auto config is on. DRAM fast page. 1 wait state. Does this support 0 wait state? No, I have to disable that. It does. This thing can do 0 wait state. Just leave that on auto. Okay, so where are we at? I need to figure out the geometry for this hard drive. Or I just, you know, say, I think it's time to just use the compact flash. Let's just do that. Let's just go back to the compact flash. I have a space for it. And it's so much easier to move stuff on and off this computer as well. That way, once I get it formatted and DOS installed, I can do that. I think if I could try to find a more you know, period correct actual 504 megabyte hard drive, that would be a cool addition to put in here. But the other thing too is that why, right? Like, I think it'd be fun for nostalgia to boot up an old hard drive like that once or twice, but it's just a ticking time bomb for when that would fry, right? The hard drive would die, and I'd rather not just kill it. So let's go to compact flash. In fact, let's pull this IDE cable. I know that I was using this before with this exact motherboard before I moved it over to the 386, and it was working perfectly. This has a 4 gigabyte compact flash card that I can remove, but it's not period correct. That's fine. Put it all the way up here. Make it easier to get to later. This will hang out down here. Whoop, come on. Is that going to conflict? That is hitting the 30-pin SIM slot. We're not going to do that. Put it over here. Except for that's going to take up that ISA slot for the modem later. Shoot. Will it actually hit the memory? I just don't want this thing to make physical contact with the RAM, right? That would not be ideal. Well, I'm not happy with it, but it's just going to have to do. It is making, the PCB of this thing is making, just making contact with the top of one of the memory slots. You know, worst case scenario, it, you know, unseats the RAM. Well, we'll find out if that's the case. But just because we're limited for space, the goal here is putting modems in this to make it a BBS, which is going to be crazy because I'm going to have to make all the ANSI graphics for it full color. Okay, got that done. and one is over here. This will make this much faster too. Probably gonna ask yourself, well, why install from floppies if you're not even installing on a real hard drive? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Who am I? What year is it? Okay, compact flash card has power. It's in there. I haven't changed anything else other than screw down the multi-IO card. Let's turn this on, see, make sure that it's still alive. There's LED lights on there. Monitors on, that's awesome. Counting up the 64 megabytes, the ludicrous amount of memory for 1993. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remember the geometry to manually put in here. Okay, let's figure that out. I don't know off the top of my head. Let's use the Google on my phone. We could even ask ChatGPT. Why the heck not? Happy the memory wasn't bad, but it definitely got dislodged, I could tell. But it was definitely the VLB slot. Okay, let's ask ChatGPT. New chat. For a 4 gigabyte compact flash drive plugged into a 486 system, what drive geometry do I enter into the BIOS? Don't fail me, ChatGPT. Don't fail me, our AI overlords. It is kind of fun holding this phone up to this system. This phone is way beyond. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's telling me that there's a 504 megabyte limit, which I totally understand. And we could use the drive overlay. We could do on track or easy drive, which I have a disk for. But what I want to put in here is, yeah, I don't think that this thing supports LBA. Or does it? I don't think so. This is 1992. This BIOS version. LBA wasn't a thing. I don't see anything through here about LBA. Okay, so this is user type 47. We're not using XT IDE or a BIOS overlay. Your safe, reliable option is to intentionally limit the BIOS to expose 504 megabytes. I'm fine with that. So the cylinders needs to be 1024, 16 heads, oops, and 63 sectors, 504. Look at that. Okay, and I don't have another floppy. It's not installed. Primary display, monochrome, color. Choose VGA, PGA, EGA. See if the wife messaged me. Okay, wife is going to start cooking at 2 p.m. That means I need to end my live stream then. No problem. Okay, BIOS settings. Let's leave it on October 30th. It doesn't matter. Above 1 megabyte memory test. No. Hard drive type 47 RAM area. I forget the setting, but I think it's fine to have the default at 0 to 300 for the address space. Floppy drive CCAP boot is enabled because you love that noise. External cache memory enabled. Internal cache memory, fast A20 option. Password check option set up. Boot sector virus protection disabled. Auto configuration. We are definitely shadowing the main BIOS and the video shadow. That's enabled. Okay, so we should be able to write this. I'm going to put in MS-DOS plus 6.22. I got this very legitimately. Plug that in there and see if it boots. We'll write these settings here and reboot. Nothing has blown up yet. Let's switch this from, switch OBS over. Let's do this. That's better. And look, it's booting. It's booting. It's almost booting. I think. This floppy drive might be dead. Or it's a bad floppy that I wrote. Well, maybe I do need to go for the Mitsumi over the Sony. I could take it apart and clean the heads. That might actually be the best thing, the better thing to do, is to clean the heads on this one before we do anything. So let's, yeah, hard drive controller failure is interesting. I pulled this out and it was a hard drive controller failure. But it at least started to boot. That message appeared as soon as I did that. So I'm gonna do is get my floppy cleaner because I have no idea what kind of crud is in there. It could be spiders in there for all I know. Okay, so I've got the cleaner disc. Do not use more than 10 times. I've used this only 1 time, so I need to mark it on there. These are becoming unobtainium. Watch as I spill isopropyl alcohol everywhere. Whoop, yep. Whoa, yep, that's too much. You know, there's an easier way to do this, but I don't want to do it that way. Okay, and this thing is very wet, and I'm not really afraid of isopropyl alcohol getting into the internals. So I'm gonna turn the system on. We're gonna let it try to boot off that cleaning disc. Walk over here so I can see the front of it. Move this post-analyzer card out of the way. Also move that out of the way. Yep, you can hear it clicking away. Got isopropyl alcohol over my fingers. Okay. Reboot this thing. Make it go through that cycle again. I really want this thing to try to touch the cleaning medium as much as possible. Did it just do a floppy disk seek? It did. Okay, let's turn that off. Okay, so this thing has been inundated with isopropyl alcohol, which is good. That also means that the internals of that drive are pretty wet right now. Set this aside for right now. I want to give this a minute to sit. With that, I'm going to take a beverage break. I will be back in a couple of minutes. All right, that was good. I now have a LaCroix. Always need sparkling, horribly flavored water. This one is the strawberry peach. The video is not brought to you by LaCroix. LaCroix, LaCroix, I don't know. Okay, so it's been a few. That should have evaporated. I have an obscene amount of floppy disks, so if I ruin this one, I'm not going to be upset. Just write another floppy image. So, good news. It still boots, or still posts, I should say. It's counting up memory. We're barely booting, guys. Yeah, just seeked. Just seeked. But I do not hear it reading. Interesting. I mean, that's a good sign, right? It's a good sign that it's seeking. It could be that this boot disk is bad. Let's do this. I'm gonna Control-Delete, pop this out. This is a DOS install disk. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put in Phil's DOS boot disk. Did I just say DOS boot disk? I did. That's because it's what it is. Wow. Okay, that was a healthy seek. Did its floppy seek, and it is not booting from it. Same behavior, different disk. You know, see what happens. Hope you can see this okay. Got lights that this is picking up. That's probably not helping very much. I suppose I could move this camera over here. Okay, just did a floppy seek. So we know it's being seen. Is the LED light on? The LED light is on, so it's like it's trying to read from it, but it is just not doing it. So I just want to make sure that the controller isn't amiss. So I'm going to disconnect this and this other very dirty unknown floppy disk. Let's see how well this one works instead. Does this show me what pin is one? It does not. Let's see if the lights stay on. Okay. Let's put in the DOS boot disk. Light stay on. Light stays on. Reverse the cable. Reverse the polarity. Some sort of Star Trek reference. You know, I actually considered doing this whole live stream in my Starfleet uniform. But that's just a little too nerdy. Or just the right amount of nerdy. Seeked. Same thing. I'm going to show some patience just to be sure that it isn't, you know, some sort of patience issue on my part. No, floppy drive just went out. Okay, so trying to think, but nothing happens. Let's try a different position on this floppy cable. I don't think that that's the issue, but it could be that that is only assigned for the B drive, and this is assigned for A. So let's check it out now. Soul Funk Brother. Watch, I get this polarity wrong. Oh, lights on. Wrong position. So this is the fun part of vintage computing, right? Nothing is plug and play. Post. Counting up to 65 megabytes of memory. Way overkill for 486. Nothing. Nothing at all. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm pretty certain that that position is for the A drive, and now it's trying to find it, and it just isn't. Okay, so we have two floppy drives that exhibit the exact same behavior of it not reading. It could still be bad floppy disks, but I didn't burn those or write them right. So I'm gonna plug this back in, and let's try to troubleshoot some things. Wow, this no one judged me for my cable management, but this is pretty atrocious. Okay, let's get the polarity wrong. I haven't been memorizing what's the right way. What is pin 1? Let's see. Is the light staying on? Yep. This live stream is going to be about me plugging in the floppy data cable the wrong way repeatedly. Okay, so I have Phil's boot disk. Where did, oh, the other. So one disk that I know works is this is actually the on-track disk manager. This is something that I may actually want to go with, but let's see if it boots from here, just in case it's bad floppies. Posting. Glad this thing is posting now. The next thing to try would be to go with a different controller card. Yeah, it's the same behavior, same exact behavior. It's not booting off that. So I don't know. Let's look into the BIOS. I don't think that there's anything that's obvious in there that I could have set wrong. UMC, VESA local bus. Standard options, floppy drive A is a 1.44 megabyte, 3.5 inch. That is exactly what it needs to be. Floppy drive B is not there. Floppy drive C, the thing seeks, right? It is a seeker. There is nothing in the BIOS that is what I'm thinking. So what I'm going to try next is another one of these VLB IO controller cards. Oh my gosh. See, I told you, wife of mine, it's important to keep all of these parts. You never know if you might need them in the future. She collects plants. So, all right, the question will be, which one of these should we use? So, this top one, this is a UMC. It's from 1994, whereas the other one, I think, was from 1993. In fact, John, if you're still watching, I think this is the one that you gave me with this system. This only has one IDE connector on it. It could still be an addressing issue. But let's try this one. Let's try the Mega D, whatever this is. Let's swap this one in and see if the floppy drive works, because otherwise that's a lot of time of troubleshooting IRQs and whatnot. That would be best done maybe episodically, so I can cut down the time for a future video. Okay. Out with this one, this really nice Promise EIDE 2300 plus. You know, it'd be funny. I just want to look at the jumpers here. So yeah, this is address settings, and these are speed settings for the hard drive, for the IDE port, I meant. Put that aside. Let's look at what this has. There's no handy silkscreen. Oh, there is. Okay. Okay, so there's game port enable, there's IDE speed. Looks like there's IDE speed selector from 2, 6, 4, and 0. IDE 1 enable disable, IDE 2 enable disable. Channel 3 IDE LED 1. Man, look at this jumper block. Well, let's just see what happens. Okay, so let's see. CN3 is the... Okay, so that's the IDE LED. Oh, I love that. So this actually has a positive and negative, and the positive negative is silk screened on here. That is very convenient. Okay, so we've got serial, we've got parallel. Floppy disk controller is here. Let us connect that. We've got pin 1. That is definitely there. And pin 1 for IDE 1. That is over here. Okay. Let's see what happens. We don't want to go into that suspect. Port. Okay, that is in there. Okay, it's in there. All right. See if this one blows up. Posting. Really glad my old GoPro Hero 4 is working so well. This thing is old. Not booting. We haven't even been able to get anything to barely boot. How crazy. But here we are. 2 different VLB controller cards, 2 different floppy drives, 2 different floppies. Let's eject this and see if I get an error message. Wouldn't it be hilarious if I didn't set the boot order right? Here, I'm just going to put Phil's DOS boot disk in here. Oh, it said HDD controller failure. That's saying to me it was trying to boot this whole time. Oh my gosh. I think I may have had the boot order wrong. Let's go take a look. Wow. That would be funny and embarrassing. Okay. No, system boot up sequence, A to C. It was right the whole time. Yeah, man, I don't... That is really weird. And I'm just going to write these settings in case there's some sort of like memory or like maybe that CR 2030 is on its way out. No, that wouldn't make any sense. It's being powered. It should keep its settings. It was definitely boot sequence A to C. A and then C, I mean. Floppy drive seek. Nothing. So I'm curious here. I'm going to reboot again. I'm going to disable in the BIOS the entry for the hard drive. I wonder if that's holding up the controller because, you know, this is a compact flash. Oh, someone's calling me. It's calling me. Oh, John, you were just trying to call. Sorry, I haven't been over to my computer to see, but I'm going to start with this. I went the wrong way. Not installed. Okay, so now we're telling the controller card there's nothing there. And while that thing is rebooting, we'll try that again. I'm going to go over and see what probably either John... Okay, make sure the floppy seek is turned on. It is. Run a cleaning disk through the drive, which I did. My guess is a bad disk or a dirty read heads. Disk or read heads. Non-system disk error. Replace. Did it just try to boot? Okay, I'm going to put this on track because this is the drive overlay. With it disabled in the BIOS, on track would take over, I believe. Oh, it works. Okay. That is weird. So the only thing that I did was disable in the BIOS the drive, which Yeah, now on track, the on track overlay is booting perfectly from this thing. You know, how fun. All right, I'm gonna shut the system off. I wanna put the other VLB controller in. Actually, no, I think I'm gonna keep this one in here. That promise one, I'm actually having some thoughts that it was bad. Well, okay, so I can't get my compact flash card to work with the BIOS, so I definitely want to do the overlay. So let this thing go again. But guys, isn't that odd? It wasn't a mechanical or an electrical issue whatsoever. It was that BIOS was, for some reason, not allowing it to boot from the floppy. So, all right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the overlay. You know, this isn't really period correct, but what it'll do is it'll allow me to use the full 4 gigabytes of that compact flash drive disk card, which is going to be useful as I do BBS stuff. You know, just having the full 4 gigabytes is going to make it more usable, make it more gooder. I wanted to make this period correct, but we're blowing right past that. If I had a 504 megabyte hard drive, I would totally use it. So yeah, for those of you who've never used this, OnTrack allows you to let a system use a much larger drive if your system doesn't support LBA. Okay, so disk 1 fails recall or smart drive. Was able to locate a hard drive. At this point, you have 2 options. Alt-C, attempt to automatically configure the system. Let's do that. License agreement. I hope this is vaporware. Edit view partitions. Select a disk. Yeah, no disk is selected. So here we are. This thing isn't detecting the compact flash card at all. I'm gonna turn the system off. Do I have this thing in here wrong? Okay, the IDE cable is pin 1 is right, but because it was holding the system from booting, it does make me think that there is something amiss with the configuration of this compact flash card. Because again, I wasn't able to even boot off the floppy drive with it enabled in the BIOS. But I think it needs to be set up as something. So let's look at this. So power, activity, slave present. There's not even LED there. Is this thing not seated right? Is this compact flash card bad? I don't know. Oh, there's some silk screen underneath here. Okay. GP3 mode 1 to 2. Make sure this is right. Mode select 1 to 2 is master single, and that is correctly set on JP1. JP2 looks like it is the compact flash voltage. It's at plus 5 volts. I don't know. This is a verbatim compact flash card. Maybe this needs to be 3.3 volts, but the default mode is 5 volts. And wait a second. I think I found the problem. I was reading this wrong. So, oh, I love this. This is missing a jumper. That is really weird. JP3 is the select for master or slave, and there's no jumper on there at all. So that's probably why this thing is hanging at booting. It's because this compact flash card, oh man, I love it. I mean, you guys saw me pull that out of my 386, and that was working in there. But all right, now I need to steal a jumper off something. This is the fun part when you start stealing. Oh, wait, no, I have jumpers. They're up here, I think. My rubber polishing heads. Shoot, where are my jumpers? I had a whole thing of them. Organization, what's that? It'd be hilarious if I pulled the jumper off there to use it for something. You know, how about that Trident card? I think that either the Cirrus Logic or the Trident that wasn't working earlier in this system. It was the really old one. Does this have a jumper on it? It does. JP1. I'm going to steal this. Note to future Tony. JP1 is missing on this card. All right. Note to self also, get jumpers. Okay, so with this hopefully configured correctly, let's just review that silk screen again. JP1 is a 1 to 2, that's default. Let's just make sure this is all on the default jumpers. I'm glad the silk screen shows 1 to 2. Okay. Would never have thought. Problem with jumpers. It's always. Welcome to vintage computing, guys. You can make a joke these days. Did you reboot the computer to fix the problem? Back then it was, do you have your jumper settings right? Love it. Okay, it's back in there. First, I want to see what happens when we go into the BIOS. If it actually auto-detects the drive now, whereas before it wasn't. Hilarious. Okay, I wouldn't expect this to auto-detect anything, but it does, which is weird. It shows it as a 3 gig drive. I'm just going to keep it on that for now. I think that's totally fine. There is not detected. Let's go back up there and look. Gosh, that was hilarious. I was missing a jumper on my compact flash to IDE adapter, and that's what was hanging this whole thing up. Oh God. Okay, so I'm still gonna do the overlay since I didn't go with the original hard drive or the that 80 gig, which I suppose I could put that back in there. No, let's just do this. Let's see what the chat says. John, you just shipped a fully tested 500 megabyte IDE drive. Nice. Yeah, you guys are right. Yeah, XT IDE would be cool. Thanks for reminding me. That's when the settings are disabled there and use this overlay. Anyway, all right. So yeah, I would love to put XT IDE in here, but I would need an ISA slot for it to hold a ROM, which actually I might do. I have a 16-bit Ethernet card that has a free ROM spot on it, and that way this BBS. Actually, yeah, no, that totally works. Okay, future me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put XTID in here on my Ethernet card because I want this BBS to be accessible not just via the 4 modems, but then also via Telnet. And I'll need an Ethernet card there. So yeah, okay. But I want to get this barely booting because I'm almost out of time today. We're almost at the 3-hour mark. So, all right. So yes, vaporware. Let's hope that no one is. Yeah, look. Hey, it detects it. Look at that. Imagine that. So we're going to go with, we're going to put Windows 3 on here. So we want this thing to be FAT16. FAT16 won't, I forget the size limit for that, but we shall see. Warning. Disk has detected existing partitions. Alt-C to continue, yeah. This drive will be installed within at least 2 partitions due to the operating system. That's totally fine. You're about ready to erase. Okay, so yeah, it has a formatted capacity of 3.99. Okay, FAT16 is just under 2 gigs. So I'll have 2 partitions, 2 gig partitions. Perfect for my BBS. Yes, continue. And it is currently fast formatting. Each partition will be accessible as a logic drive after rebooting. Okay. If the drive is going to be set up DOS and you'd like to on-tracks 32-bit, you must run. Oh, okay. The enhanced 32-bit disk adapt access driver, then upgrade disk manager, advanced option menu. Okay, well, I suppose I should do that. I remember doing that before. Each time you boot, you must follow these 3 steps with this. Remove the diskette from boot the system. Oh, that's right. The overlay has to run before I can boot. Oh man, XT IDE would be so much better. But here we are. But I'm happy with the overlay. All right, so I have to reboot the system. I'm gonna keep that out. Create an on-track boot disk. Any other key to skip. Remove the diskette. Control-Delete. All right, so what we're gonna see here is this is gonna boot off the compact flash drive C, and it'll give me the option to then boot from the A drive, which will be the DOS installation. We're almost to barely booting, guys. Yeah, hit spacebar to boot from diskette. So I hit spacebar, and then now I'm going to put that in here. You probably might not be able to see this, but this is the overlay. I'll need to get some my VGA capture thing. I didn't think about that. Even an LCD monitor would be easier to pick up on this. Okay, so press spacebar when ready. Hey, we're finally booting. We're barely booting. That's what we're doing. Sounds like a healthy floppy disk drive. It was a good thing that we cleaned it anyway, right? Because this thing has been sitting in a box for a long time. So now I have DOS 6.22 set up. Checking my system configuration. I'm going to continue. Keyboard settings, yes. C:DOS. Of course you'd want to put that in there. Now is a great time to fill out your registration card. When you send it in, Microsoft will keep you up to date on the latest product improvements and let you know about related Microsoft products. I wonder if I could turn up the brightness on here so you guys can see it better. Oh, it's up all the way. This low resolution I'm kind of curious. Yeah, it's still at 70 hertz. So this is at that odd VGA 70 hertz thing. And that's where I need to get like a RetroTink or the open source scan converter because otherwise most... oh, it does show. I just walked over to my PC. I can see that this is getting picked up. Anyway, what I was saying is that either the open source scan converter or RetroTink will support those really odd DOS VGA resolutions and then scale it properly to yeah, the HDMI output, and then I just feed that into OBS. That's the fun thing about doing this OBS stuff, this live stream thing, is I've learned a ton. I've learned a ton about retro computing. Or not retro computing, but just how to do these kind of YouTube videos. And I have to say, folks like Adrian, Adrian's Digital Basement, Mike Tech, everyone else who makes content on YouTube, this is takes a lot of time, preparation to set this stuff up, lots of investment. You guys have a hard job, but definitely appreciate the content that you make. I know for me, I like to watch YouTube videos from all those various channels. It's kind of relaxing for me. If I'm taking a break at work, if I'm traveling, if I'm home ignoring my wife, I watch those YouTube videos. Just kind of nice. For all the things that I mentioned before, you know, retro side of things, there's nostalgia here. But yeah, man, like 1993 to 1995, that's the kind of vibe that we're going for with this particular setup. Disc 2, I love it. A lot of fun stuff was happening back then in the early 90s. So not only is this just nerdy to play with, but then also to kind of take yourself back to that time frame. Like, you know, back then you had like Windows 3.1 everywhere. That was the common PC OS. People were starting to use more of the Amigas and maybe some of the Atari STs. But yeah, PCs were definitely Windows 3.1. Windows 95 hadn't been released obviously until Windows to 1995. You know, dial-up internet was starting to become a thing at home. You know, up until that point, it had been just BBSs, but you know, internet providers started to exist. So that was kind of becoming mainstream. You know, you had Doom release. That was crazy when that came out. There's nothing like it before on a PC. The kind of 3D-ish environment that it creates. A lot of people love that, still do. You know, you had Jurassic Park come out in the early 90s, really showcasing, you know, technology, what you could do with computer graphics. You know, those are all done with what, SGI based PCs. You know, I think the first PlayStation, you know, launched. You know, this is the decade of the time for like VHS movies, CDs, Laserdisc. John, I know that you love your Laserdiscs as well. I have a collection. Still looking for a Laserdisc player. Another thing for my wife to roll her eyes at. You know, the world was changing fast too. You know, the Cold War ended in 1991, I think. I think that's what, if I remember my history classes right. You know, you had the former Soviet republics breaking up or establishing independence. I think back in that time, the European Union was forming as well. You know, I think like the big news back then, I remember, is like Nelson Mandela was president of like South Africa. It was huge. You know, speaking of home dial-up, you know, the first web browsers were appearing as well. You know, Netscape. Um, what was that other one? It was not MSI or something like that, but one of the very first, Mosaic. Yeah, Mosaic, the Mosaic browser. That's what I remember using on my Windows 3.1 system. And then, yeah, horrible stuff too, like the Oklahoma City bombing. You know, we had really horrible instance of domestic terrorism back in the early 90s. That certainly shaped a lot of the course of the 90s as well politically. But so I don't know. It's interesting just to kind of use this old hardware, just to relive nostalgia, not just for the technology itself, and enjoy the things that we enjoyed as kids or you know, young adults. But then, you know, I start thinking about the world as it was happening back in the 90s. It wasn't a perfect decade, but I don't know about you guys, the 90s sure was a much better decade than you know, the decade since. All right, we've got floppy disk 3. My goal here is to get MS-DOS to boot. That way we can say we're just barely booting. And then I'm gonna close this live stream because I've got to help my wife get ready for Thanksgiving dinner. I'm on the West Coast here, so it's just coming up to about 1:50 p.m. or 13:50. So I know a lot of you are on the East Coast, like Bastion and John. Thanks again for joining and chatting in here and helping me through this. I know that it's much later in your day already because you're on the East Coast, 3 hours ahead. Hope I haven't interrupted your dinner time too much, but you know. But yeah, man, it's Thanksgiving. Hope we all have some things we have in mind to think about that we're thankful for. And I'm certainly thankful for a very tolerant wife, kids, and they haven't come in here at all. I'm actually very surprised that neither of my sons have come into the garage to see what's going on. They're probably just rolling their eyes at me like, geez, what is dad doing in there? Probably something I would have done as a kid. But yeah, thankful for health, thankful to have good friends like Bastion and John, you guys joining in here. Anyone else that's come in here. Very first live stream I've ever done. That is, I would say, more so successful than not. Nothing has blown up though. That's always exciting when you can get that to happen. I hope the video quality's been good. But lots learned here to really kind of determine you know, the best way to do this in the future. I'm not sure if I want to do live streams again, or start creating some episodes of what we do. But as we're coming to a close here, once MS-DOS 622 is installed here, just kind of talk about what I plan to do with this YouTube channel. So of course, through this YouTube channel, or sorry, for this live stream today, I built the 486 from scratch. Tried to cobble together as much as I could. We assembled it. As you can see, that's on the bench right now. It is installing DOS, so it can be barely booting the system. But the long-term plan for this channel is that we take this 486 and turn it into a BBS. The reason I want to do that is because I've always wondered what it would be like to dial into a BBS from the different computers that I didn't have at the time, like a Commodore 128, you know, an Atari 800 XL. That was my first PC, but I never had a modem with it, but I do now. But this is really my end goal right here. What you're seeing here, this is a Panasonic electronic modular switching system. This is a PBX. It has 8 analog ports on it, but the purpose here is that it will serve as a phone system. You know, there's YouTube channels like The Serial Port. Those guys over there have an incredible array of hardware that they can actually simulate an old POTS telephone system, something I can't do. So cheaply and simply, I'm going to use a PBX for that. So 4 modems here will go to half the ports on that PBX, and then I'll have 4 ports to simultaneously dial into from various computers. So that's my end goal, and I plan to use the YouTube channel to show that in future episodes, just for fun. You know, why not? And with that said, we've installed DOS. I've removed the floppies, and we're going to reboot this computer. And at that point, we will be officially just barely booting this 486 system, destined to be a 4-line BBS. At the BIOS screen, it's posted. Floppy drive seek. There's the on-track dynamic drive overlay. And it's starting MS-DOS. We are officially barely booting. We've got HiMem. It's testing the extended memory. You know, this system, it's a 486 DX2 66. It has 256 kilobytes of cache memory. That should speed it up quite nicely. As I mentioned earlier, we have a 2 megabyte VLB card. Next things I want to do with this is install Windows 3.1. Unfortunately, I'm out of time today to do that on camera, but maybe I'll make a live stream to finish this up. So 2 live stream parts, and the rest is episodes about finishing the BBS, turning this into a BBS with the 4 33.6 modems that I have. A next episode will be about setting up that PBX that I showed you. And then ideally, I have an episode for each computer that would dial up to the BBS, showing how to load the dial-up software in there, you know, how to dial in. We can listen to the modem sounds. The PBX will simulate a dial tone. And then essentially the number that we'll be calling is one of the 4 extensions that'll be assigned to this. So we should hear the dial tone. We should hear the negotiation between the 2 modems. And I'm going to I have my capture cards. So we'll be showing a view like this, but then we'll also hopefully get a pixel perfect showing of, you know, what it looked like to dial in back in the day from each of those computers. So that's the kind of thing that I want to do with this channel. I'm not sure what else to do with it, but I'd be doing this anyway without a YouTube channel. But again, since so many of people out there make YouTube content and also like watching it, I figured I'd share this. But here you have it. You have seen a 486 PC built from scratch. We've done some simple troubleshooting, and hey, look, it is booted into DOS. We are just barely booting. And with that, I will say thank you for joining. I hope all of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll see you guys again soon. Goodbye, everyone.